Hello, everyone. On today's podcast episode, I'm going to talk about friends and relationships. Um, I think I've talked about this before in a different podcast, but on this one, I'll continue. I'll continue from where I left off. What I've noticed, in life is that there are people who have like two or three friends, and there are people who have like 10 or 20 friends. And growing up, I know there's a inclination or a desire in people to have more and more friends, more and more relationships. And, I've never been someone who fell for that. And because growing up, I've actually had like only like a few friends, friends in school, even the friends I grew up with outside of school. And what I realized is people who have a lot of friends tend to only have, I believe like once you have more than four friends, right? You're no longer friends. You become acquaintances. What I'm saying is, the value of the friendship goes down the more friends you have. Quantity over quality. The less friends you have, the greater the quality. The more friends you have, the greater the quantity, but the lower quality it is. Do you know why? It is because, the more friends you have, the less time you spend with each friend. And since you spend less time with each friend, there's no emotional attachment, to your friendship. You guys barely know each other. The more friends you have, it slowly becomes an acquaintanceship or a situationship where you guys only hang out because, you hang out with other people around you. You're people with a lot of friends tend to have, best friends. When you have a friend group, right? And you have to segregate between friends and best friends. The best friends are your regular friends. Then the regular friends are just your acquaintances. They aren't really your friends. You're just there to hang out with you. That way you seem like you're a social person. You have a lot of people around you. And you have to be really careful around your acquaintances because there's so many stories of people's friends, people that have a lot of friends group like gangs, cartels, and all these criminal gangs, And not just that, fraternities, sororities, and all these things. There are always stories of, these large friend groups betraying each other. It happens, and it happens so often you'd be surprised, But what do you expect, When at some point in time you have to realize that, quality matters more than quantity. The more friends, if you're someone who has a lot of friends, your best friends are actually your real friends. The other people that you hang around with cannot really be considered your real friends because just as you don't feel that close to them, they don't feel that close to you either. Meaning it's easier for them to betray you. It's easier for them to set you up, sell you out because you guys aren't that close. You just hang out with each other. Sometimes you don't remember their names. You're friends, but you don't remember their names. You don't remember their birthdays. You don't remember, that much about them. Sometimes you don't even know where they live. You guys just hang out together. You meet at a certain location. You may have the number. You may never have their number. And you call yourself friends, but the truth is, there's so many, there's too many cases out there. Just search it, where friends end up, betraying each other. I saw a case where, the guy went to visit his friends, right? Like a group of men, the boys. The guy went to visit his friend at their home, and for some reason they got into an argument, and all the friends came up and killed him. Yeah, all his friends came together and beat him to death. And they call themselves friends. And the worst part of it is they all try to hide his body somewhere. They all try to cover up for each other. Not a single one, stood up for him. And this is what he called friends. And there's also a case of a female. This happened to a female as well. She hung out with her friends at a hotel, right? And the friends beat the living daylights out of her. They killed her, right? And then the doctors, when they did an autopsy, they didn't even know she was beaten to death. They thought, the friends lied to the cops that she was she died from drinking. She was too intoxicated. She died, and the doctors actually believed them. And then it was only like a few weeks later, a few days later, that they found out through a video online. The friends actually recorded her getting beaten to death and posted it online, through them bragging about killing her. Yes, they were bragging about killing their own friend. So through them bragging about killing her, the cops ended up finding out that she didn't die from drugs. She died because they beat her to death. So this is what you have to really, really be careful of. There's so many cases of people dying from their friendships, their friends selling them out. And this is why a lot of criminal gangs, you always hear about them talking about these are gangs. You think these guys are very close, right? A gang in your mind is a bunch of very close friends, but the truth is the people inside these gangs always know. They know, like basic it's like basic knowledge that the people around them will sell them out. They call it backdooring. They know that the people around them will backdoor them sooner or later. And this is what you expect in life, is that the more friends you have, the higher the chances of them not being that close to you. Because the people you spend your time with on a daily basis are actually the ones that get that build that emotional bond with you, that friendship with you. And if the more people you have, the less chance you actually interact with them, and the less chances you have to interact with them, the less chance of them building any emotional connection to you. If they have no emotional connection to you, what's the point of why are they helping you out? If something happens to you and you come to them, why should they help you? They don't really know you that much. They don't know you that well. So it happens so much with gangs and criminal, these criminal groups, sororities, or sororities aren't criminal groups, but what I'm trying to get. Because it's so easy for the cops to just bribe us, one of the gang members, or bribe one of the gang members, and the gang member just sell the whole gang out, the whole cartel out, or the whole. There's so many ways to bribe someone. You can use money, you can use fame. There's so many different ways you can use to bribe someone. Some of these gang members want to get out, but they can't already. That's as long as you give them protection from leaving the gang, that's all. They can sell the whole gang out just for that alone, just to be free from them. Not get some gangs you can't leave the gang, otherwise you'll be killed for leaving it. So those gangs, for a fact, these guys aren't loyal. They're only there because they're afraid of being killed if they leave. So this is what I've been thinking about. I know some people won't agree with me, but it's fine. There's always, it's quality over quantity. The more friends you have, the lower the quality of the friendship. The less friends you have, the greater the quality, and the lower the quantity. So it's a give and a take. You can't expect to have a lot of friends and expect them to all be great friends. You know, this is why you have to be careful. I've seen cases of gang members. It's really, you can just watch TikTok, man. It's filled with gang members, selling each other out on a daily basis. All they do is betray each other, man. These gangs, all they do. You think these are the closest, these guys are the best friends, they will always have each other's back, but you're wrong. If you're looking for best friends, you should be very selective of the friends you actually have. If you're not a selective person, you think everybody can be your friend, just know that if you're not hanging out with someone long enough, or if you're hanging out with someone, then you hang out with someone else. The person you're hanging out with, one of your friends could get jealous that you're not hanging out with them. That's enough for them to betray you. If you're hanging out with one friend, right, friend A, and then you 1 week, you hang out with friend A 1 week. The next week you hang out with friend B. Now, if friend A ever finds out that you're hanging out with friend B instead of them, they'll start getting jealous. So this is what you have to be careful of when you have a lot of friends, is that the more people, you have to be, if you hang out with X, Y, will start getting jealous that you're only hanging out with X. You should be hanging out with them instead. So the whole friendship just slowly starts to deteriorate when you have more people involved. I'm not telling you not to make a lot of friends, because the benefits of having a lot of, a large friend group is that, that the connection, the ability to, interact with a lot of people, the ability to, there's benefits to having a lot of friends. But the downside is that, the emotional connection isn't that strong between you guys. There's not that much of a strong emotional reason for them to not betray you. If there's not a strong emotional reason for them not to betray you, if they ever get the chance to betray you, it doesn't cross their mind not to. There's no this is my best friend, we've been through a lot together. These people barely know you. If they barely know you, the chances of being friends with you is, the chance of not betraying is very, very low. This is why, there's the phenomenon of all these gang members they're always betraying each other. They're always backdooring each other. Because, what do you expect? Quality over quantity. The more people in the gang, the higher the chance of some people getting jealous that you're only hanging out with this group of people or this friend. You're only hanging out with your best friends. You're not hanging out with the rest of them. That's enough for them to betray you. That's enough for them to want to kick you out of their friendship. So you really have to be careful. And I think I've talked about celebrities and friendship as well. If you notice that celebrities have a lot of friends, but you have to be careful, with the celebrity friends. Most celebrity friendships are fake friendships. They aren't real friends. You know what? As a celebrity, if you have to see things from a point of view of of a normal person. As a celebrity, right? You have connections. One, you likely have money as well. Two, you have influence. Three, because of all these things, there are also many other things that you have that, that I can't really mention right now because it's not coming to my head. But a celebrity has a lot of things that draws people to them. Power, money, fame, Because of this, a lot of opportunists, will want to be around a celebrity just so that they can, sharing the, they can beg the celebrity for money or manipulate the celebrity to give them money. So that's one reason why, celebrities have a lot of friends, is because there are many fake people out there that, they see celebrities as gullible idiots, because most celebrities are just normal average guys with, that just gain fame. They're not, and many celebrities are just, within the age of, there are many celebrities that from like 16 to 40 or 16 to 30. Between the age of 16 to 30, you don't have that much, understanding of the world. You don't know how conniving and manipulative people are. Because of that, it's so easy for you guys to be friends with people without, celebrities to be friends with people around them without them realizing that. Many of the people that are around, that are attracted to a celebrity are there for, are there not because they like the celebrity itself, the person itself, but because they want something out of the relationship. They're there for, with ulterior motives. They're there because, you're a celebrity. If they hang out with you, right, they could become famous through you. They're there because if they hang out with you, they can, they can beg you for money. If they hang out, that's two. The other one is if they hang out with you, they can, they can get connections to the friends. Some people think as a celebrity, you have a connection. You have a list of powerful friends or other celebrities that they want to get to know. may not want you as a as a person, but you may know a lot more powerful people, other celebrities that they won't would like to hang out with. So there's three. There's the connection part, there's the money part, and there's the fact that just being around a celebrity could make you famous in and of itself. So there are many people drawn to celebrities. Some of these celebrities aren't even famous. Some of these celebrities are TikTok famous. They're influencers, but it doesn't matter. As long as you have more fame than someone else, they will want to be around you simply for your fame alone. If they can hang around you and pretend to be a friend, right? They can gain the fame. They can leech off your fame. And there's so many celebrities complain about, this friend, doesn't like me because, or this friend betrayed me because, or he doesn't want to hang out with me anymore, because I don't want to show, I don't want to post them on my page, or I don't want to, go to X with them. I don't want to go to parties with them. I don't want to, I don't want to take pictures with them. So you have to really be careful. Celebrities always getting betrayed by their friends. There's so many musicians always making new albums about fake friends, about their friends betraying them. It's just endless. The whole, and that's one of the downsides of fame is that you think fame attracts all the good people to you, but you're wrong. Fame attracts both good people and bad people to your doorstep. And that's what, a lot of celebrities don't know is that most of the people who come to your doorstep may not even be, especially the people who rush to your doorstep. You may think because they're begging to be with you or begging to be around you, it means they like you a lot. But you can't really tell that. The more think of things from this point of view. Normal people, if someone sees you as a normal person, they won't try that hard to be in your life, right? And that means they don't have any expectations in the relationship. If someone sees you as a celebrity, as a normal person, first of all, they won't try that hard to get into your life, right? But it also means that if you guys ever become friends, right, they only see you as a friend. They don't see you as anything else. They don't want anything out of the relationship except friendship. But someone else, an opportunist, does the opposite. It sees you as a celebrity. It sees all the benefits that you can bring them. They don't see you as just a normal person they can hang out with, but they see you as like a what do you call that, a trophy wife or a trophy husband. They see you as as money. They see you as a tool they can use to make themselves richer, more famous, or get into connection with people. The people around you become their target. They either pretend to be your friends, that way they can get in connection with your friends and family members, the other celebrities that are around you, or they're trying to be your friend because they want your money. If they can manipulate you out of your money, you know that's good for them. They don't really care. It's very hard to care about someone you see as money. It's very hard to care about someone when you see them as a tool, a way for you to get famous. And this is what attracts a lot of people to celebrities' doorstep, is that normal people who wants to be around celebrities won't try that hard, because to be in a celebrity's life. Do you know why? Because they don't see celebrities as anything special, and because they see celebrities as just a normal friend. Their value for celebrities is that as just a normal friend, because they don't expect anything from the celebrity. They don't expect the money from the celebrity. They don't expect the fame from the celebrity. They're not even looking for your connections. They just want to be a friend. These are the real friends, and because of that, they won't try as hard to be your friend, because they don't think there's anything they'll gain from it. If they don't think that if you're someone who if you're bad, if you're a celebrity who has who throw tantrums and argues a lot or insults your fans, the normal folks will be out of your life so fast, because they don't want to be around lunatics. They don't want to be around people who they already know their life will be at risk just being around them. But for people who see celebrities as tools, they don't mind if you're a loose cannon. They don't mind if you're a lunatic, as long as they see you as a tool they can use to make money. And because of that, they'll be so driven to be in your life. You'll be wondering, this person likes me a lot, without realizing that they're trying so hard to be in your life, not because they like you. They're trying so hard because they see you as a tool for them to make money with. And the moment they can take, they can take whatever they want from your life, they'll be gone as, they'll betray you so fast. Just as, you see them working hard, you think, they're working hard, to be in my life because they like me a lot. You're wrong. They're working hard because they see all the benefits they can gain from being in your life. They see all the benefits. They don't see you as a human being. They see you as a tool to make them richer. They see you as a tool to make them more famous. And they see you as a celebrity, as a tool, to gain them connections, powerful connections with your friends and family. As long as they can pretend to be a friend, they can get in contact with with your other friends. You guys can hang out. And sooner or later, they'll betray you for the other friends. They'll stop hanging out with you and they start hanging out with the other friends. It happens so often. And this is the risk of being a celebrity, is that you can't tell who truly wants to be your friend. And just because they try hard to be in your life does not necessarily mean they want to be your friend. It may actually be the opposite. It may actually mean because they desire the money you have so much, they will do anything for it. You know, there are a lot of people out there, they want money so badly, they'll attach themselves to a celebrity. No matter how badly the celebrity treats them, they'll always be there because they expect that at some point in time they can manipulate the celebrity to give them money, or they can betray the celebrity and steal from them. You know, do you know how many celebrities get robbed on a yearly basis? There's a reason why these celebrities get robbed. It's because their friendship, they're friendless. There's a group of within the group of friends, there's someone who knows exactly when they'll be home or when they won't be home. And all they have to do is tell their other friends to come rob you. Rob the celebrity when the celebrity is not home or home. When if they come to rob the celebrity when the celebrity is home, guess what? It's probably because they want to kill the celebrity. You know, they don't like you anymore. They usually just want to kill you and get rid of you, or they want it to hurt very badly. They want you to be at home when they rob you. It's a personal problem. The ones who want to rob you when you're not home is the ones who they just want your money. They don't want they don't want to get into a fight. They don't want to get into argument. You just want to steal your money from you. So this is what you have to be careful of in life, is that the more famous you get, the more fake friends you end up making in life, especially when you're someone who doesn't, you think more friends means, more happiness, without realizing that it's quality over quantity, or quantity over quality. The more friends you have, the less quality, it brings to your doorstep. The less quality of friends you have around you. The less friends you have, the more quality it is. So celebrities that have a lot of friends, or people that have a lot of friends, just have a lot of fake friends. That's what you have to be careful of. Just because they pretend to be friends with you does not necessarily mean they truly want to be your friend. At some point in time, they're just hanging out with you because they have they don't know what to do with their lives. If they don't know what to do with their lives, they'll just hang out with you because it beats being at home doing nothing. But just because they hang out with you does not necessarily mean they're your friend. It just means that they have nothing better to do with their day. So they decided to hang out with you. So this is what you really have to be careful of, because I see a lot of influencers. They're always complaining about their friends being betrayed by their friends. Especially the celebrities that get into relationships. They get into relationships so easily because they keep assuming that the person that comes to their doorstep pretending to like them actually likes them. They can't tell that their fame itself makes it attracts a lot of bad people to their doorstep. Attracts a lot of opportunities to their doorstep. People who just want to be, just want to leech off your fame, just want to leech off your money, or just want to leech off your connections. And because of that, almost every celebrity, has failed relationships. In one moment they're together, and the next moment they're gone. That's why you see the phenomenon of celebrities just always dating around. You rarely ever see celebrities stay more than like a year in a relationship together and they're already broken up. It's because they jump into relationship after relationship. They fall for the same trap over and over again. They don't vet the person they get into a relationship with before they get into a relationship with them, because they think because the person does X or Y for me, it means the person likes me. You know, So they just immediately jump into a relationship without realizing that you as a celebrity have a lot of value you can bring to someone. Just because the person is rich, you're famous and they're rich, right? So you think he's rich, so there's nothing he wants from me except, he must love me because he's rich. What does he want from me other than money? But he already has money, so there's no point in him coming to my life unless he really loves me. You're wrong. You have something he doesn't have, and that's fame. You know, you have fame. Even if you have, even if you have less, even if you're less famous than that person, the person can still want to be in your life, right? Because they can take the fit. Some relationships. Some people just want to get into a relationship with another celebrity. So celebrities want to get into a relationship with other celebrities, simply because they can use, the fans of one celebrity can become the fans of another one, simply because they're in a relationship together. So if a celebrity wants to do something, wants a lot of attention for themselves, right? They think their fan base isn't that large. The best thing they do is, get into a relationship with another celebrity, just so that, the celebrity of the person they get into a relationship with, the fans of the person they get into a relationship with can be their fans as well. So celebrities have other reasons why their relationships with celebrities. And rich folks have, reasons why their relationship with celebrities as well. Some rich folks have no way, it takes so much time and effort to actually create your own fan base. You have to bring something to people's doorstep, or otherwise they'll never be your fans. So in order for them to become famous very quickly, what it is to, pretend to be, the lover of another famous person. Even if that famous person isn't that rich, it doesn't matter. As long as you can pretend to be a lover, they can make you famous in and of itself. So females, who are famous, they get a lot of men who, pretend to be a friend just so that they can leech out the fame of the women they're in a relationship with. And it's the same thing with men too. Famous men always have women around them who only want to be in a relationship with them just because of their fame alone. Because if they can be in a relationship with a famous person, they can end up becoming famous, and it works. You may think it doesn't work, but it works. As long as you're, in a relationship with a famous person, all the fan base, all the fans now know who you are. People who never knew who you are before will now know who you are. You just grew your fan base by a lot just for being in a relationship with that person. That's how lucrative it is to get into a relationship with a famous person. Is that it's so easy to use them to make yourself more famous. Even if you're already famous, their fans may not know who you are, but just because you got into a relationship with them, now they all know who you are, and vice versa. Now your fans know who your girlfriend is or your boyfriend is. So this is what you have to be careful of. Fame attracts a lot of people with ulterior motives to your doorstep, and the people with ulterior motives are the ones who try the hardest. Because they already see the benefit. When you don't see the benefit in something, right, it's hard for you to give your all to it. But when you already see the benefit from a mile away, fame, fortune, connection, there's no way you'll give up. It's impossible for you to give up, chasing after someone when you already see all the monetary benefits you can gain from being in their lives. But when you're just a regular man and you see celebrities as regular people, it's easy for you to give up. If they say no, you just say, okay, this person doesn't want to be in a relationship with me, or in a friendship with me. Let me move on with my life. It's not that serious. That's the mindset of someone who sees celebrities as a normal person, as normal people. Is that because they don't see any benefit to being in your life. To them, whether if you say no, it's just it's just a normal person saying no. It's not that special. But if an opportunist, if you say no, if a celebrity says no to an opportunist, it's the opposite. They will never give up. Why? Because they know all the benefits they can get. They already see the benefits, and they don't want you to, they don't want the celebrity to, deny them of all those benefits. Money, fame, connections with other rich and famous people. Do you know how famous you can get very quickly if you keep hanging out, with famous people? You don't even have to have any talent. You don't have to have any talent whatsoever. You don't have to do anything special whatsoever. Just hanging out with rich and famous people will make you rich and famous. That is how powerful, famous people are. So because of all that, all the benefits you can get from being around these people, a lot of opportunists will try their best. We'll go through thick and thin, trying their hardest to be in a relationship, or be in the circle of, famous people, without the slightest care about these people whatsoever. They try so hard to be in this, with the celebrity, and you think it's because they like the celebrity a lot, without ever. The celebrities also themselves also have that, gullible mindset that, this person is trying so hard, it must mean he likes me a lot. They don't know what they have. They don't know the value that they have. Because they don't know the value that they have, it doesn't cross their mind that this person has ulterior motives. It doesn't cross their mind that the person doesn't like them in any way, shape, or form. It only sees them as a tool to make themselves more famous. They only see the celebrities as tools, puppets. And some celebrities end up being puppets of their spouses, or their boyfriend or their girlfriends. Some people are very, very manipulative. So if you get into a relationship with them, they'll manipulate, they'll manipulate you to death, and then once they finish using you, they'll find a way to kill you. So this is what you have to be careful of in life, is that the more famous you are, the more you attract fake friends to your doorstep. The less famous you are, the less, these fake friends want to be around you. What's the point of being around you when they gain no monetary benefits from it? If they gain no benefits from it except friendship, what's the point? They don't want to be friends. They want something out of the friendship. They want money, they want fame, or they want, the connection, the connections that you have with all these people around you. So, this is what you have to really be careful of in life, But there's someone, in this world who will never, sell you out. This is why I say there's always someone who will never sell you out, and that's God. If you're someone who ended up, being in that situation where you realize all your friends are real friends, just know that, instead of committing suicide, just know there's always someone there, who won't sell you out. If you're on that, if you're, on that road where you realize that all your friends are fake friends, not a single one cares about you. They're only around you because of the benefits you bring them. There's a lady that there was a news story article that I read a while back about a lady, right? Her parents died, right? Her parents died and left her with a lot of money. So because of that, all she attracted to her doorstep, literally everything, all the people that came to her life were opportunists who just came to use and manipulate her. And after years of, one bad friendship after another, she decided to just, abandon all her friends and started paying people to be her friend. Because she realized that, when she realized that, because of all her money and the fact that she has no family members around her, a lot of fake friends will come into her life anyway. She decided to just start buying friends. So if you're someone like that, she ended up killing herself. I think she committed suicide after a while. Her life was so miserable that she ended up dying. She didn't. I don't think she even lived to 30. Her parents died very quickly when she was younger, and by the time she turned 30, she ended up dying. So you really have to be careful. If you don't have any friends around you, you realize all your friends are fake friends, the ones who will betray you. Just know you don't go the suicide route. There's always someone who's, God is always there for you. If God didn't betray Adam and Eve, God won't betray you. Adam and Eve already betrayed God in the Bible, but yet here he is. God is still talking to his children, the children of Adam and Eve. God was still guiding Adam and Eve all throughout the Bible. God was still guiding the children of Adam and Eve, even after Adam and Eve betrayed God, by eating the fruit, So you should know that there have been so many people who've betrayed God in the Bible that, God still hasn't let go. If God really wanted to betray Adam and Eve, he could have deleted Adam and Eve from the world. Just like God created Adam and Eve, if God really didn't really wanted to betray Adam and Eve, it would have uncreated them, as in removed them from existence, completely. The fact that God didn't do that should tell you that at the end of the day, God will always be on your side. I'm not gonna. I don't want to turn this into a religious, episode, but just know that there's always someone there for you. You know, if everyone else betrays you, just know that God won't betray you. You know, so you always have that person there. You always have God, on your back, on your side. So don't worry about too much about it. Pick your friends carefully. Your friends can make or break you. Just like I was gonna talk about Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, but I just remember this. You have to really pick your friends carefully because if you see Jeffrey Epstein, the Epstein files, you'll realize that Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein weren't real friends. I know on social media and the news, they're always talking about these two guys are friends, they're best friends, blah blah blah. But the truth is, if you read the Epstein files, you realize this Jeffrey Epstein did not like Donald Trump at all, not even a little bit. You can tell their friendship is a situationship where they pretend to be friends in public, but the truth is, these two will backstab and betray each other any chance they get. The whole Epstein file just shows that Jeffrey Epstein had no positive feeling for Donald Trump whatsoever. So when Donald Trump says we weren't really friends, you have to accept it, because just from the words from Jeffrey Epstein alone, you could tell this friendship is more like an acquaintanceship, just people you hang out with when you hang out with everyone else, when you hang out with your friend group, this person is part of your friend group, so you just hang out with them all the time. But it's not only because you're friends, you just hang out with each other. But deep down behind your back, at the back of your mind, this person will betray you. And that's the friendship that Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein had. They already know they'll betray each other, but yet they're still pretending to be friends anyways. Why? Because they can get the connections that both of them have. And this is the trap of celebrity, of being a famous person, is that you attract people to your doorstep. At some time, you end up realizing that they're not your friends, but because of the connection that you can get from them, or the connection that you have, they can get from you. You still stick around with them, or they still stick around, with you, or stick around to you. And knowing full well you betray each other, you're still hanging out with each other. That's a toxic friend group. When you guys never speak, positively about each other behind each other's back, but yeah, when you guys come together, you pretend to be friends. That's a toxic friend group. So you have to really be careful as a celebrity, is that all you attract to yourself is people who would talk badly about you behind your back, but still pretend to be a friend anyway in public, because they think or in front of you, because they think they can get so many benefits from being in your life. They can get so much money from you. They can get especially if you're a powerful person. You're someone who's has some political influence. There's so many people who want to be your friends, because not only are you famous, not only are you rich, you also have a group of powerful friends that they can get in connection with through you, and they can use you to your power, the power that you have to control people, the power that you have to get things done in life. They need that because of all the benefits you bring. They don't care if if they don't like you in any way, shape, or form. They'll still pretend to be your friends because they can gain so many benefits from you, so many benefits. It's foolish in their mind to not be your friend. Even if they feel like killing you, they won't. They'll still pretend to be your friend. Even if they've already plotted your death years before, they'll still pretend to be your friend. As long as you keep giving them benefits, they'll never go through the plot of killing you. But the moment the benefit stops, or the moment they find out they can get more benefit from someone else, they'll betray you so fast and go to that person. So this is what you have to be careful of. If you have a lot of friends, you have to wonder, why are these friends around me? Do I really bring that much benefit to them? Do we really have that much, emotional connection with each other? Do we really like each other that much? And if you end up realizing you don't like these people that much, just know that, you're not really around people you really, who are really your friend. And if expect them to betray you. I'm not telling you to just, force them to betray you. There's a difference. Expecting betrayal and forcing your friends to betray you are different things. Some friends will never betray you, even if you're just, their acquaintance. But if you try to force them to betray you, obviously they'll betray you. So don't go out of your way to turn them into your enemies. But you just know that, you know, just know that at some point in time, if they get the chance to betray you, they might betray you. The higher the chances, the larger the friend group, the higher the chance that one of them will, or many of them will. But don't let that deter you into from making friends. There are benefits to making friends. The friend group, the connections. You know, so friends bring so much adventure and information into your life that it may not be bad to having a lot of friends has its benefits, but it also has its downside. As long as you know what the downsides are, it's fine to play, having a lot of friends, but always know that because you have a lot of friends, these aren't tight friends, these aren't close friends, because they're not really that close to you. Do not, if they start doing weird things around you, just expect it. Just treat it as part of the problem. Just treat it as part of the traits of having a lot of friendships, a lot of friends is that, some of them will not really be that close. Some of them will betray you. Some of them will sell you out. Some of them will just walk out of your life randomly, even if you want to be closer to them. Some of them may not want to be close to you simply because, when they wanted to be close to you, you were close to somebody else in the friend group, you're too busy spending time with someone else to spend time with them. And that was when they wanted to be friends with you, real friends with you. But you decided to spend time with someone else other than them. So now that you want to spend time with them, they don't want to spend time with you anymore. You guys should just hang out together, as the group. But when you want to, hang out one on one, they'll make up excuses like, nah, I gotta do this or I gotta do that. So you have to be careful. So that's it for today's podcast episode. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.